Welcome everybody to our November 2024 Advanced Tournament. I am Musical. I will be commentating alongside Dexerian. We have 10 players signed up today. DeluxeFlame, thatdamrandom or Newsy, Velazquez, Bowser with a trouser, and Bramp in Group 1 or Group A. Group B, we have Wassergeist, Dog in the Grass, SwaghettiYolonese, Sera, and Ads 20,000. Our group stages are already underway, and it looks to be a very exciting bracket. There are a lot of crushers in this tournament who have placed very well in previous advanced tournaments and are getting their feet wet in the expert tournaments. A lot of very experienced players out here. These sets are going to be first to five wins. They're all going to be played on level 10. And with that, I'd like to hop in first to, let's take a look at Bowser with the trouser versus Newsy or Random.
Woohoo, let's go Bowser! Also playing as Bowser, very fitting. Didn't expect anything else.
Alright, so we're coming into this with Bowser up 1-0. So Newsy will be looking to, or Random is going to look to get on the board. See Mando Tahin in chat. Good luck to the participants. Absolutely. Also, because we have two groups, it does mean that we do have a final stage, which is nice. A little bit of a contrast from our previous earlier in the month novice and intermediate tournaments where we only had one single round robin group.
Oh, you didn't get enough participants for that one.
Yeah, so in this case, because we do... Oh, it's alright, like, it fluctuates here and there. But this time around, because we have two groups of 5, it'll be a top 6 single elimination bracket stage. So the top 3 out of each round robin group will advance.
Nice. Also gotta add the
play. He ties it up.
Yeah. Also gotta say that it's kind of impressive that Bowser is playing with Pudgy panels. I personally have a few problems with them. I can't discern them from one another. Also clearly the red and the orange seem very similar to me. And when you have red, orange and yellow, I mean, you have those in the normal panels too, but yeah, just looking at them, I can't really play with them all that well.
Put another way, I definitely respect those who can glean or appreciate any kind of like contrast that they do
definitely.
Out of the panels. So if it works for you, then great, because it's another panel set that, you know, it won't affect you.
Yeah.
Or I guess if you wanted to play a prank on those like us that may struggle with seeing them just a little bit more, it could make a difference when it comes to staying alive, right?
Well, there is also the possibility that he's just used to them and I'm not, because if I would play with them for a longer period of extended period of time, then I would get used to them as well eventually. But as things stand, I'm not. Also, Bowser tried to go for a slide, but sadly missed it. Gotta point those out.
And while we've been talking about that, like Newsy had Random. Sorry about that. I'll try to like just go based on in-game name. Random has taken the lead after having tied things up with Bowser.
Hello.
Welcome back, Dexerian.
Welcome back.
Dexerian is our other brand new commentator.
And with that, I am going to leave it to you, and I'm gonna mute myself.
Okay, sounds good.
Alright, thanks.
Yeah, with 3 commentators, it's gonna be a little messy. Let me know if you need
different
something.
Dynamic for sure, but I'm always for it.
Yeah, but let me know if you need something. I'll be here.
Totally. Thanks again, Lava, for streaming.
funny that you should mention that, Lava. It actually happened once where we took the two French casters and the two English casters. Obviously, the French ones were talked English, and we put all four of them together. I was amongst those, and it was pretty chaotic having four casters at once on the same match.
Can imagine.
Hello, everyone.
That's fair.
Name's DeluxeFlame. For those who don't know me, I'm a new player here. I've been playing panel attack for maybe something around a month, and I noticed that there were tournaments, obviously, so I signed up to be one of your casters. Hopefully you'll enjoy what I'll deliver today. Hey, Michael, how are you doing today?
Doing very well. This group stage has already gone off to a very good start. I've been enjoying watching Bowser go against Random. It started with Bowser up 1-0, and then Random fought back, taking 3 in a row. So it just goes to show, especially with level 10, this game is extremely punishing on level 10, where you only have 1 frame of health compared against the numerous number of frames that you get on levels 9 and below. So you don't have much of a safety net once you're out of stop time, and that will just end the game for you.
Absolutely. I can speak firsthand into how hard it is to transition going from the lower levels to 10. Managing stop time becomes extremely important, and you can't really have any leeway when you're topped off. And obviously when you play against people that have good offense, your defense is going to need to be up on par or you won't last a long time.
For these players on level 10, in order to keep that constant stream of defense on, they're always looking to see what kind of combo or chain can I make, and just not stop and always be doing something. This is a little dangerous for Bowser with the trouser. That last raise put him in a really difficult situation. Does have an this was really tricky, like having to be able to juggle while things were clearing to figure out, once the panels fall, what's the solution. And once things fall apart like that, it's hard to recover, especially with very little stop time. And right now Random is at set point.
Absolutely. So for those of us who are not familiar with the tournament rules, would you mind giving us a quick rundown?
Yeah, so we went over this a little bit earlier. These sets are going to be 1st to 5. So 1st to 5 game wins, or best of 9 if you will. There are 2 round robin groups today of 5 players. The top 3 players in each round robin group are going to advance to a 6-player single elimination bracket stage.
Fair enough.
While this stream is going, we're just going to be hopping from set to set as they finish. So once we're done with this set, I'll ask you, DeluxeFlame, whichever set you want to take a look at, we'll hop to that set.
Sounds good to me. As you mentioned, set point here as Bowser is looking at a pretty topped up stage, gonna have to touch that garbage block as soon as possible. Getting a little frisky here, gets the insert on the time suit there to grab that garbage. Looks a little rough on the edge there, but was able to keep it live again. Now there's a big block on top. Oh, doesn't get
ran
it.
out of stop time there. That 5 combo that was done in the corner was very smart on Bowser's behalf. Unfortunately, to run out of that stop time, since Random did such a very good job of keeping Bowser topped out, did a lot of extra chain garbage compared against Bowser, and that put in a lot of work. Okay, with that, we only really have 1 set to go to, so I guess for now we'll go to Wassergeist versus Swaghetti. And this one's almost done too, so we'll be spoiled for choice after. This is the game 9, so I'm glad to see that so early in the group stage.
Yeah, as we come in, they're already on match point here. 4-4 is the score, so this is the last game of this set. And already we can see Wassergeist in a little bit of a predicament here as he's much higher than his opponent and more garbage is coming. Fortunately, he's able to clear that one out. And now he's looking to maybe try and get something of his own going, as Swaghetti right now is pretty much has free reign over what he wants to do with his stage.
Swaghetti did a good job of trying to keep Wassergeist topped out initially with those extra pieces of 4 combo garbage, followed by another 4 chain. Wassergeist is looking to slow Swaghetti down a little bit. Couldn't do so with that little tricky down stacking operation up top. which gives Swaghetti the 5-4 victory.
Yet another match done. Looks like these matches are going pretty fast, so group stage already going pretty smoothly. It looks like there's 2 other matches already live. Bowser's against Deluxe and Velas versus Bramp. Do you have any preference on these matches?
I'm okay with seeing any of these. Which one would you like to go to, Dexterian?
Let's see which one is... Alright, 0-0 with Bowser, so let's start a fresh match, shall we?
Sure, let's do it.
As we get in here, Bowser, the process of landing a ×4 chain. Lots of garbage already on Deluxe's side. Looks like he wants to respond in kinda already at ×3 with that defensive garbage chaining. And oh, fortunately, Bowser actually succumbing there. Not managing to keep his stop time long enough, and Deluxe takes the first game.
DeluxeFlame is a really strong competitor in these advanced and expert tournaments. Places very, very well. One big thing that I've been seeing is very consistent openers. So regardless of the initial chain, there will be, within the first 2 waves or so, a good amount of chain garbage, lines of chain garbage.
Absolutely, as you mentioned, that we see him opening with a ×8 garbage block, which is nothing to sneeze at, followed immediately with a ×5. So now Bowser's looking at quite a hard pattern to clear here, as the stop time gets lower and lower the shorter the garbage block gets. And now on this last one, this is where it gets real tricky. Oh, doesn't even have to deal with it, as the last one he sent actually takes out Deluxe in a quick sweep.
Good job to Bowser tying things up. Little small note, like with the garbage, like with chain garbage clearing, like you mentioned, there's a lot less time with each layer, especially because on level 10, garbage clearing time is shortened by quite a bit. You see how quickly the animations take to resolve. But the stop time that you build, that magenta bar that you can see on the side, that is based off of the combos and chains you make, and you get a little bit of a bonus if you are fully topped out, or rather if you're topped out. And
didn't know that.
This is getting really scary for Bowser. I keep mixing that with Blame Jukes, but again, I'll try to stick with his in-game name, Bowser. That was really smart on DeluxeFlame's play, trying to follow up with smaller garbage with shorter shake time, or less shake time.
Yeah, something I noticed about Deluxe is that he's really good at like inputting combos inside his chains. So he'll be chaining and dropping 5s and 6s during that. And wow, what an opener again, ×8 right off the bat from Deluxe, going all the way down to the bottom of the stage, and now he has a lot of room to work with, while Bowser has to deal with all of that.
Once again, that 8 chain just put in so much work because of that down stack all the way to the bottom, gave Bowser very few panels to work with. Unfortunate just not being able to get that last swap in time for the garbage clear, which puts DeluxeFlame up 3-1.
Both players with similar openings this time around, about 5 lanes of garbage on each side. Seems like both players are able to handle it quite easily for now, so they're going to be looking to try and get back on the offensive. There goes Bowser with a ×4, now clearing his garbage. On the other side, we see a 4-5 coming in, not managing to get the 6, but still pretty good. Probably going to be looking to follow that up with a couple combos, try and get his opponent a little higher on the board.
It's a little bit dangerous for DeluxeFlame. Originally had a 2-tower situation, was able to downstack it relatively safely because there wasn't enough garbage falling behind it. But ordinarily, under heavier pressure, that could spell death if you don't have a clear way to get both towers down or get a garbage clear off of one of those towers.
Nice job on Bowser's side. You saw him with a little hesitation there, not finding any clear as well. He was at the bottom.
It's
Fortunately,
scary.
he was able to dig in something, but unfortunately, it wasn't quite enough. And match point already for Deluxe here with a 4-1 lead.
Yeah, it gets really scary, especially on level 10. If you let the game drag on for too long, some players can get done in by stack raise, especially since the stack raise speed is jacked up to much faster speeds compared against the lower difficulty levels. So if you're not prepared for it, and almost like, you know, being used to the speed and finding combos and chains for that stop time to keep your stack from raising, it could become a legitimate threat to your overall survival.
Absolutely, that 7 was solid, getting really good timings there, dropping the blocks and keeping that chain going. And now, again, has a pretty comfortable situation, only sitting at about half his board. Gonna send out a couple combos to try and get more garbage on top of that huge 7 he just sent. But so far, Bowser's dealing with it quite nicely. Has so much stop time that the garbage hasn't even come in yet.
It was an interesting move on Bowser's on Bowser's part to halt some of that garbage to fall, because it could have been more efficient to let more of that combo garbage down so that all of it's cleared in one swoop.
Right.
Unfortunately, because that was held back and Bowser wasn't ready for a clear, that gave DeluxeFlame that set winning game. All right, we haven't gotten to see, who have we haven't gotten to see? I don't think we've gotten to see Wasser. Well, we've seen Wasser, yeah. We've seen Dog. We've seen Newsy. So it's one of Swaghetti or Velazquez and Sera. Let's take a look at Wassergeist versus Sera. Wasser's actually this set's almost done. But Wassergeist is a previous advanced tournament winner, has won several of these tournaments in the past. Always great to see him as a tournament regular. Just shows up and places extremely well, if not wins outright these tournaments.
And I think I heard something among the line that he does not seem to be that regular of a player in of itself. He does show up for a lot of tournaments, but in between the tournaments, doesn't seem like he plays that much. So it's pretty impressive to see how consistent it is throughout these tournaments without like grinding, so to speak.
Indeed, it just goes to show, like, once you have a very strong understanding of certain fundamentals, it does take you very, very far, because opponents that struggle with those kinds of basics, they can be done in if you know how to capitalize off of them.
Speaking of capitalization, that opener times 8 chain was absolutely marvelous, and now Sera already topped off really early into this game, 30 seconds in, finally manages to touch that garbage, and now is going to be looking to chain that up. Looks like for now it's going to be fine. Oh, wow, a lot of garbage coming on Washer's side. They didn't expect that much, I think, and insta-kill comes in with that combo.
It was unfortunate. It was the right move in terms of trying to get a garbage clear, but there wasn't enough stop time to follow through with that down sag. Making use of like a combo or a chain near the bottom would have bought Wassergeist the amount of time needed to go through that specific down stacking sequence.
Like this time around, a little milder opener from both sides, allowing them to some breathing room as third match point now, 4-2's the score. Sera with the opportunity of reverse sweeping basically at this point if he manages to win 3 more. And now it looks like, oh nice, gets the 4, be able to clear that. So for the time being, both players still pretty safe. A lot of stuff gonna be coming in on Sera's side soon enough though. Oh, hesitates with the reds there, almost gets done, and looks like he actually will.
That did it.
Yeah.
Unfortunate fumble near the top, giving Wassergeist the set win. Okay. All right, Dexterian, where should we go next?
Looks like both of these matches, actually Bramp versus Bowser just started.
Sounds good.
First match goes to Bowser. Let's see what these players can open with here. Bowser's still going. That's a 7 opener versus a 4, so much better opener in this second game here for Bowser. See how Bramp deals with that. Looks like he's able to chain the first layer easily. Has the reds there, gets them in time. So now Bowser is going to try and get some combos out, get his opponent stops off before he can retaliate in kind. Now to up to 6, gonna lose that, but still 6 is a pretty good retaliation. Oh wow, actually the combo, all the combos came in all at once because of that stop time. Bram not expecting that. No stop time was available, no clear was available, and Bowser gets the second game.
Great heads up play from Bowser. Quick garbage clear from Bramp, and because a lot of that was smaller pieces of garbage, all of that was cleared all at once, rather than leaving behind other layers.
It really impresses me how simple, how such a simple game can have such a high mastery. You know, the whole easy to learn, hard to master trope. This game takes that to the next, like to another level completely. I mean, it can't get simpler than that, right? You just swap panels and make matches. So easy to learn, but then when you start delving into it, like the amount of strategy and techniques and mechanics, and you know, it's quite the rabbit hole there.
It's a beautiful thing. The skill ceiling in this game is crazy.
Absolutely.
And
I'm saying that coming from Devon.
Bramp quickly ties it back up with an early chain.
Yeah, that was really good. Bowser not expecting that. That's the thing. Sometimes when you're playing someone and you kind of get used to a certain offensive level, but sometimes they'll get these out of the ordinary offensive streaks, and you're not really expecting it, and it can catch you off guard, which I think is what happened here.
Sounds about right. Once you're caught out of position, it won't matter how well you've been doing leading up to that moment of truth. If you can't survive when it matters the most, then you will just have handed your opponent a game win.
Absolutely. Bramp taking a little bit of risk there, chaining all the way down to the last row of his board.
There you go.
But it looks like it paid off this time around. This can be a little risky doing that sometimes, because if you don't have any clears and your opponent has enough garbage to top you off, then it can be pretty lethal. But the amount of garbage sent out was actually enough to take out Bowser. Now Bramp with the lead at 3-2.
I saw Bowser just now trying to go for a slide early on. When you're safe, I guess you can defend it. When you're under pressure, you really have to be consistent with those. Otherwise, those almost definitely will spell death. But Bowser, I've spoken with Bowser, and Bowser has talked about the enjoyment or preference towards those frame tricks that are so super strict, like slides or catches, or tornadoes, for example. Yeah.
I did notice the other day that there are some situations where he could just do a simple insert to keep a chain going, and he's going to opt to go with a slide. So you're talking about a 4-frame window versus a single frame window, and both do the same thing. So you're basically adding difficulty for yourself doing that, but obviously also allows you to get more consistent with these frame tricks. And Bowser ties it up at 3-3.
It was unfortunate Bramp was trying to go for an insert that didn't lead to anything immediately. I think had there been an auxiliary setup somewhere else, that would have actually worked, at least for setting up a path to a garbage clear backed up with some stop time that would have come from the potentially intended chain or intended combo.
A little bit of a rough pattern here on Bramp's side, but manages to get a 4 cleared. Now Bowser a little low on his stage, probably looking to go back up. Fortunately, a lot of that garbage were combos, so now most of it's going to be cleared out pretty fast. Now Bramp's getting a little high, but gonna have to be careful there now.
That was unfortunate. I wanted to point your attention. This was 20 seconds ago, where Bramp had on the left side a setup with the greens. It's called a transition clear, where you guarantee, barring an unfortunate chain from revealed panels, you have a guaranteed future garbage clear when you're going through garbage layers. Bramp saw it in advance, set it up, and was guaranteed to be safe for that span of 10 seconds. Knowing that Bramp has that on deck is very useful. That's really good.
Absolutely. That's not a tech that I've mastered yet. Having, I guess, the eyes to be able to spot how the blocks are going to fall and setting it up preemptively requires a level of, I guess, vision that I've yet to reach for sure.
It comes with time, and it's when it comes down to it, it's really just pattern recognition. So
Right.
those same pattern recognition that you make use of when you're looking for combos and chains, the same thing can apply, but now it's a different type of shape. And the more you look for them, the more you try setting them up, the more you'll be able to do that, like, and have it down as second nature. So you no longer have to think about it, and instead you see that's a transition clear setup. Let's go for it, because it means that I get to stay alive.
Right.
And we have another game 9.
Absolutely, another match point here. Oh, unfortunately, it doesn't last very long. Bramp with a rough opener, doesn't find any clears, and looks like Bowser is going to take the win here.
That was unfortunate. Like, those 4 or even 5 combo snipes, like, those are tragic, but they do work. They can catch your opponent off guard, and they have very little time to react to it. Let's see. Let's take a look at Sera versus Swaghetti.
Alright, see what's going on here. Swaghetti with a slight lead at 2-1. A lot of garbage already. Wow, this match has been going on for already 1 minute and 15 seconds, which is one of the longer matches since we started casting today. And looks like both these players are not ready to give up yet, as a lot of garbage still coming in on both sides. Times 4, 5 now again on the middle of the game here from Sera. Solid offensive again, topping off Swaghetti once again, and now he has to answer in kind. Really love Sera's ability. Oh, wow.
That was so unfortunate.
Power on the left was basically a frame away from grabbing that 4 combo, giving him enough stop time to probably clear that garbage, but it wasn't quite enough. Nice slide there.
Okay, this is that's death.
Oh.
That one I kind of saw in advance, where Sera would have wanted to make something happen with the yellows. There had been an option with bringing a yellow from the right, but that would have required seeing that in advance. Fortunately, that didn't happen, so the other option would have been a mid-air catch, also a very hard ask. But because of that, Swaghetti is at set point.
Yeah. So now Sera not going hard on the offensive here, as he had to defend quite early into this match, but now has a little breathing room, able to get a 5 chain in, which should set Swaghetti back a little bit. He was pretty low on his stage though, so doesn't have that much room to work with to be able to counter-attack with that. And Sera's right now has plenty of time to do stuff while Swaghetti's defending against that. Finally the block comes in, has some space to work, so should be fine for the time being. There you go, gets the yellows on the right there, and now he's going to try to set up a defensive chain. There it is, but there's another garbage block right on top of that, and the stop time is going to get shorter and shorter as the last layer of the garbage comes in. Looks like he should be fine. Maybe no, doesn't get it right in time, unfortunately.
Yeah, like it's hard when, especially with Swag, like continually sending those pieces of chain garbage. With each layer, you have less and less clearing time or pre-stop time. So you have to buy eventually actual stop time with the combos and chains. Give yourself a little bit of extra padding. Let's see.
Velazquez versus Bowser just started. If you want to grab a fresh match,
Let's do it.
Alright, look, 6, that's a 7 opener from Velas right here. See if Bowser's ready for it. Gets the purples to chain those yellows into a 2. Now has to set up those greens left and right, so he's going to be able to defend for the time being. In the meantime, though, Velas still sending out stuff, already at 4 again, so that's 13 lines of garbage in 30 seconds from this guy. Nice defense.
It's good
still
timing
by Bowser.
from Bowser.
Yeah.
That, because Velazquez's stack wasn't terribly tall, that 5 chain fell in its entirety onto Velazquez's screen, which closed him out of getting any other extra rows of panels, making it extremely hard to find a garbage clear if you weren't already set up, giving Bowser the first game.
Bowser again with a solid opener, places those yellows. Oh, yellows a little too early, still manages to get a 7 chain though out. So already a pretty good opener from him. Velas gonna have to be on the defensive for the time being, and in the meantime Bowser is looking to try and send some more combos out while he has some leeway to do so, because right now there's a couple blocks coming his way, as 7 chain right now on the way. Finally it's gonna drop, but now Bowser has to deal with that.
Bowser did a really good job of keeping the stack decently high to not let all of that 7 chain from Velazquez on screen.
Right.
So some of that was cleared off screen and therefore giving just a small, like even maybe just less of a second in this case, extra time that Bowser was able to use. So when a player is building up a very large chain, like the counter normally will be to raise your stack very high, so that you can, for as many lines as possible, keep clearing that piece of garbage off screen, or most of those lines off screen, which will expedite. You clear faster and you gain your panels back faster, rather than having to sit through all of that clearing time animation, or in other words, pre-stop time.
Makes sense.
Because you want to get back in the game sooner and claw back or counterattack. If you're forced to just sit there with, like, let's say like a 10 chain entirely on your screen, that gives your opponent so much time to build up extra offense against you.
Right. That's a very good point. So there's definite pros and cons to keeping your stack high. As you said, you get more time, but you also have, how could I say, if your stack is really high and you don't have anything set up and no stop time, you're obviously gonna die quicker as well.
Yeah, to make full use of that, you have to be able to look very, like, you have to be able to actively search through your stack and know what your plans are for defense. So it's the players that can basically reduce that potential con to essentially nothing. Because if they find themselves in a difficult situation, they've already built up their stack so high, which gives them so much leeway or a big safety net to make use of. And it also means that it's an additional offensive push against their opponent. And by that time, they will have gone through most of the... they will have started clearing the larger block when it's at its fattest, or at its thickest. So bringing down a smaller block is not as bad as bringing down a larger block.
Oh, that's a lot of down stacking from Velas. Really unfortunate right after he sent that 8 chain. Had to deal with a fair amount of garbage and wasn't really able to have, well, didn't have anything set up on the left side rather. Tried to down stack, didn't have enough time to do so. And unfortunately that offense didn't get to see much use.
One recurring thing that I've been seeing out of these players, like specifically with Bowser had been seizing pressure advantage very early on by wasting no time and dropping what is usually a larger chain against Velazquez, and Velazquez would drop a smaller chain a little bit later. So you can already see within those first 15 to 20 seconds, it was Velazquez that was immediately topped out, or at least in danger of being fully topped out. And meanwhile, Bowser has maybe like 3-4 lines left of empty space, giving him more room to re-raise and get more panels. And now Bowser is at set point.
Yeah, really, really solid match from him so far. Velas having a little rough time, even though at face value it doesn't seem like it's that uneven of a matchup, but Bowser's offensive is so quick, as you mentioned. He doesn't waste any time to start these big chains. Some players will, sometimes spend some time to analyze the stage and see what they're gonna do. This guy just, the first thing he sees, he basically starts clearing stuff right away, and he's able to keep it going quite easily. As in terms of skill chains, for that skill level, is probably one of the better ones, right?
It's certainly making good use of it. Like, I can't say for sure in terms of just overall, like, chain prowess, but as far as who's making better use of their time in that amount, in that, like, let's say, like, 20 seconds, definitely, like, it's shown that Bowser was actively putting Velazquez under pressure earlier. So, but here's the thing. Even though that Velazquez is put under pressure earlier, that doesn't mean that Bowser would be out of the woods. Where Velazquez can certainly fire back and then put Bowser under, like, in trouble. Because remember what I said, like, if you like if you are caught out of position, then it really won't matter how you've been doing leading up to that point. It matters more if you can get yourself out of that precarious situation and stay alive. Everything before that won't matter nearly as much, and that's exactly what happened in that game, giving Velazquez that point.
Yeah. That's something that I've noticed where you have some higher rated player, I'm talking like 1700, and their offense isn't really that different from my range 1200s, right? But their defense is absolutely outstanding, able to always have something ready on the top, keeping their stop time always active at basically all times, which basically makes them unkillable to a certain degree.
Precisely, being able to always know where to look and what to set up is so valuable especially on level 10, but of course that has application on lower difficulty levels too. If you're ready, it's harder to kill you. If you're not ready, it's easier to kill you.
Yeah. Match point here for a Bowser. Getting a decent opener. That's 6 lines of garbage already out by the 15-second mark. So now Velaz already on the defensive, but able to do a pretty good retaliation move here. That's a 5 coming Bowser's way, but nothing following it up though. No combos or anything like that. So it's only going to be a couple big garbage blocks as chains another 3 there. On top of that, Bowser already ready with a 6 combo to defend against that.
Ooh,
has some room.
That right side tower was disgusting.
Yeah.
There was a solution where if you downstack using the yellows to eventually build to a garbage clear with the purples, it's doable. But yeah, that's hard to react to if you're not ready, and Bowser did a really good job of sending extra garbage behind.
And
Very
looks
nice
like
job.
Bowser is in a really good spot to get out of group stage. Has won, I think, 3 of his matches so far. Really good performance by him.
That's solid. All right, let's hop into DeluxeFlame versus Random. Okay, this is already at match point. Set point for Random.
Looks like both players with relative comfort for the time being, as they're about halfway through the height of their stage and nothing too big on either side. Probably that the beginning pattern wasn't that friendly for combos. Little rough setup here, able to get the 4 there, should be fine on Deluxe's side. A little low on his stage, so probably wants to get a little higher before more of that garbage comes in though.
Indeed. A little scary for DeluxeFlame, knowing that there's some extra chain garbage falling behind it. Needs to really react. Very little limited panels. Was able to get a garbage clear with the yellows, but Random is charging up like another chain. This is really dangerous. We've talked about how you've alluded to Factory being one of those more dangerous types of garbage patterns. If it's a pure Factory, having just layers of panels in between garbage lines is annoying, but what makes it even more annoying is if you interlace combo garbage, specifically smaller pieces, in between those layers, and Random did an amazing job. If you were taking a look like 15 seconds ago, there was like just a single piece of 4 combo garbage in between those 2-3 chains. That makes it a much more dangerous Factory. And Random takes this set 5-2.
Yeah, that was a really hard garbage pattern to clear. Big blocks followed with like a small one, followed by another big one. And in between the tiers, on the tier 2, he had 2 rows to work with, but no clears available. So without having anything on the bottom, that was just a really rough situation to be in.
Absolutely. Once you're under that kind of pressure, you have to be able to use your panels sparingly, because if you overburn, you raise your chances, or raise the risk of locking yourself out of a garbage clear, which hands your opponent the win, and you don't want to do that. Okay, let's see. Are there any other games or sets left? Let me refresh my page.
So
my guess is they're probably done. Random just needs to report scores, I'm guessing.
looks like there's still Bramp versus Random yet to be played.
Okay. Very good.
And yeah, Random has the matches haven't been reported entirely right now, showing his score at 1-0, Bramp at 0-3. So obviously, even with a win here, I don't think Bramp would be able to make it out of the group stage, depending on how the last match from Velas went. How would it go in case of a tie? Say 3 players have the same amount of points.
It would be like the next thing would probably be like points difference. So like, yeah,
Right.
points scored versus points given up.
Right, right.
Or game wins versus game drops. And then if they're tied, then they would have to look at if between tied players who took the set.
Oh, a little unfortunate random there, but didn't matter much because Bramp already having a hard time dealing with that initial garbage chain that was sent out by random.
A little dangerous for Bramp. Stack was very high, wasn't able to get much of a follow-up immediately, so had to spend a little bit of time looking for something first. Stack is dangerously close into bringing up that next line, so it's really scary if, for example, if Random were to, okay, we didn't get to see it here, but if Random had sent enough -1 line in that sense, where Bramp would have been less than a line away from topping out, Stack Raise would have done Bramp in.
Yeah.
Because when you're like pixels away from death, that's basically a kill opportunity in and of itself. It's hard to kind of pull off in practice because you want to be sending as much as you can in under most conditions or circumstances.
Right.
But the odd chance or the odd situation does exist where you could try to swing for that. So it requires a little bit of board awareness of watching not just your own board, but your opponent's as well. Your own board to figure out, do you have the resources to send exactly what you need? Your opponent's board to see how much you need to send.
Yeah, thankfully you don't have to look at your opponent's board to see what they're sending out, which just with the sound cues usually gives you enough of an indication of what's up, what's coming next. But as you
That's
say,
true.
having an eye out though to see how vulnerable I guess an opponent is can be a viable strategy, but requires a pretty comfortable game knowledge and mechanics to be able to pull that off.
Yeah, especially like if you're watching your opponent's board, like you can also like figure out if they might find themselves, let's say in 10-15 seconds time, in a sticky situation where, like, let's say you glance at their board and you see separated combo garbage, you know they're already in trouble. Right. Or if you see them like, let's say 10 rows high, you know that there's large potential for them trying to make a big swing at you, either with a lot of combo garbage or a large chain, so that you can brace yourself and try to adjust your stack even before you start hearing those sound effects for chains and combos.
Oh, Bramp with a solid opener here manages to get a 5 chain out pretty early into this game now, clearing that garbage with a chain 2 combo 4, which is also pretty solid. So more stuff is going to be coming Random's way, but it looks like he's responding in kind with a 4 of his own, right on top of that initial 7 that he sent out. So now Bramp
very
with
scared
a little
for Bramp.
situation
Oh,
here.
no.
Oh, so close from getting those
amazing
yellows
draw from Random, sending that initial 7 chain. It was timed very well because Bramp downstacks in such a way that it led the entire piece of chain garbage on screen.
Right.
Unfortunate little miss swap or just misplacing of the cursor to get what would have been otherwise a very easy dark blue garbage clear. Could have also resulted in a bicolor 6 for the garbage clear, but otherwise very well played.
Absolutely. So looks like group stage matches should be over at this point.
Yeah, if not, we're very close. I'm leaning towards, I think they're done. Let's take a look.
We're only missing results from Random versus Velas, I believe.
Yeah, it looks like according to our TO Chaos that there's something that needs some confirmation. Once that is through, I think that will be it for confirming all of the set counts. But aside from that, we can take a look at Group B for now. We see SwaghettiYolonese set to advance undefeated. Wassergeist having dropped only one set, and that was to, let me see, to Swag. Okay. And Dog in the Grass moving on, going 2-2. Thank you very much for playing, Sera, and adds 20,000.
Meantime, Random with right now 3-0 record, so perhaps Deluxe is at 3-1-2-2, so that would be... Yeah, regardless of the outcome of Velazquez versus Random, which is the one match that's missing, Random, Deluxe, and Bowser will be moving on. So it looks like we already have our 6 players that are going to be stepping forward the next step.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards that as well. Like, Bramp, thank you very much for playing. I was really happy to see that. Like, that transition clear was amazing. Like, if you're doing that, Bramp, holy cow. Like, there are players, like, in, like, let's say, like, gold, platinum, even diamond, that they don't know how to do it. And that's a very useful tool in your arsenal, if you can command that.
Agreed. My brain has yet to process how to transition clear.
For me, I would consider that like a bread and butter thing. So once you feel comfortable with moving around, getting like navigating through your board, like feeling like you have enough time in that sense, like to move and do and set up, it will be very useful for you. It's similar to like your combos and chain setups, like knowing like how much time you have. You can apply that same logic of how much time do I have relative to what the board looks like. If I have a lot more time, I might be able to get away with longer setups and stuff like that. Or if I don't have that time, maybe I can buy some stop time first with combos and chains, because the garbage clearing time, you know, for example, gets shorter and shorter, and we know on level 10 it's already very short. Right, we don't want to always have to try to outrun that garbage clearing time. Yeah. Instead, let's counteract that with stop time with combos and chains.
It's one of the biggest flaws, personally, that I have to work on, where I have a big tendency to try to go up and clear towards garbage when my stack is high, instead of just continuing doing stuff at the bottom, right? And sometimes it's much longer to downstack than to just do clears on those towers, right?
Totally. It's always like it's always like important to know and exercise like proper judgment calls. I still struggle with this all the time, because sometimes I might be too fixated on staying near the top. Sometimes I'm too fixated on staying near the bottom, when I should be moving to the opposite end, or to up or down. So yeah, you have to always exercise judgment based on your vision, and just always be aware of what is happening on your board, where you might have like an easier solution elsewhere that buys you time, and then you can return back to whatever you were working with.
Just for like my personal, I guess, enrichment, how long have you been playing this game?
As far as, okay, so let's, if you're talking about just like panel games in general, probably maybe like 20 years ago or so, potentially. But here's the thing, all that time ago I was playing on level 1. I only started playing on level 10 once I found this server, and that was about 2-ish years ago.
Wow.
So
quite the quick progress there.
I was just inspired by how like everyone just drove up the skill ceiling like crazy, and I wanted to compete with them, because I was really enthralled with the idea of just like having regular tournaments every week. I was like, that's so cool. And I wanted to fight on equal footing with them, so I figured, okay, that's when the grind starts, and I'm going to try to learn by getting my butt handed to me day in, day out. There's so many players here that just completely trounced me, and it was important for me because it gave me immediate feedback. Right. So I knew, okay, where are my problem areas, and how do I address them, right? If one strategy of addressing them doesn't work, maybe another strategy will work. So it was basically that trial and error and talking with people in this server, which is a good chance for me to just shamelessly plug our Discord if you're interested in joining. go like that. And if you want to like talk with me or anyone else, or play on Panel Attack with any of us, yeah, totally like would love to have you.